So, here we are in the keep again. I'm finished with my shopping and everything, and wanted to pop by and see how things were going. Speaking of that shopping, we did quite a lot of selling, and by the end of it all, I ended up with about 50,000 gold. About 16,000 of which I spent on buying Jaheira a new set of armor right here, the Armor of the Deep Knight, which is armor class 3. So she's gone down to having a total armor class of 0 as opposed to 1, or was it 2? I don't remember. Anyway, she has better armor now.
Something you need.
And just before I started this recording, I got a pop-up saying that the quartermaster is waiting for Renal's cut back at my thief stronghold, so I'll have to head into town again. But first, let's talk to this guy and see if there's anything I need to do here.
Greetings, Your Grace.
And no, there's nothing going on at the moment, but same.
Ready and able. As you will.
So,
you must gather your party before venturing forth.
That I'm actually going to... Okay, so since there's not a whole lot going on, and the main thing I'm interested in doing right now is advancing the thing with the keep, what I'm going to do
of course
is pause the recording here, and then I'll resume it once we get the next stage of the keep questline. Because that's the next important thing I really care to show off, so I will see you all then. Okay, we're back for just a moment. I wasn't planning on this, but two things have happened now. We've just had a messenger walk up to us and say that Lord, and I'm doing air quotes there, Ronal is waiting at our keep, so we're headed back there. Then, Aerie has just ambushed us with this bit of conversation. That she needs us to tell her what the worth of a life on the ground is. And all we can really say is, there are many things that are wonderful, but I don't know if they're better than your former life. No, they can't be. Everything of beauty can be seen from the sky, and there are so many places you cannot go if all you do is walk. Yes, that's the way life is, Aerie, but don't worry, I'll be here to show you the better parts. Are there better parts, Toby? How would I recognize them if I discovered them? I just don't know if I can wait for them to come along. Just ignore me, Toby. I must seem very pitiful and wretched to moan. So all the time, you must despise me. Despise you? What?
What can I do? I'm so
Aerie.
happy you brought me with you. I never imagined.
Just as I
Cheer up,
such
Aerie.
great things.
It'll be fine. But now, we have this asshole noble who needs to be taught a lesson.
Onward then.
So, let's get on with this. Asshole noble is in need of some stern talking to by means of Toby's boot up his ass. Because, as you well know, aggressive negotiations is the best way to handle everything, right? Now,
You must gather your party
let's
before
head into
venturing
the
forth.
keep and see what this so-called noble has to say. Given that he's related to that jackass who tried to kidnap Nalia,
To the
you
task
can
at
guess
hand.
that my opinion is already negative by default. For now, let's just see what Major Domo has to say.
I serve this land regardless.
It is good you have come, Lord. Lord Farthington Ronal himself has arrived to speak with you. He has been agitated by the wait, and does not seem pleased. Yeah, well, he can take his agitation and shove it up his ass. I do not know what he wants. He demanded to see you and no one else. I hope there will be no violence. Shall I show him in, my lord? Yes, we may as well hear what he has to say. He's going to probably barge in and demand we hear him regardless, so let's just get it out of the way. I shall get him and his small entourage right away.
I'll heed no churlishness, peasant.
Alright, let's make this quick, peasant. Nalia de Arnais was betrothed to a Ronal by her father. Whether or not the wedding is going to happen, this land is ours by right. Oh, very funny. You do make me laugh so. Wait, you were serious? I thought you were joking. Well, in that case, go fuck yourself. Nalia is too young to decide for herself to just give this land away. And the very idea is preposterous at the least. So I'm going to be a gentleman and give you the chance to decide your fate for yourself. And give up the castle. You'll never rule it in the long run, at any rate. You have no noble blood. Give it up now and all will be forgiven. What do you say, peasant? Give up my stronghold that we've been ruling and doing pretty well for ourselves, by all accounts, to some arrogant noble who thinks that being a noble is enough reason for him to rule here, when we were already given the right to rule it by Nalia. No. I see you are as stubborn and stupid as any other peasant. Very well. Next time I return, it shall be with my army at my back. Very funny. I killed a man who thought he could become a god by murdering enough people. Your poxy little army is of no concern to me. So come and try it. I dare you.
You return.
I had thought it would come to this. I've already taken the liberty of speaking to Captain Cernic, my lord. Captain Cernic said he would do all he could to build your forces, but there's little else that can be done. Lord Ronal may be bluffing, but I am not sure. At any rate, Captain Cernic has sent scouts to the borders of your land. We'll know immediately if Lord Ronal moves. I will send word if it comes to that. Very well.
As you will.
And that is it for that little event. So once again, I will pause the recording and we'll pick up again with the next interesting thing that happens.
I feel like collapsing here and dying. I just don't think I can go on.
Well, it would appear Ares' personal problems are the next interesting thing. Lucky I caught these. This will probably be a pretty short bit, by the way. Perhaps it is better and more fitting if I just die, like a bird whose wings are broken. I am useless, Toby. Utterly useless.
Crying in such a fashion while we are attempting to help him on his quest, then you are indeed useless. For the last time, pull yourself together, girl. Shut up, Jahira. You think you'll be somehow impressed because you're so mean? You do nothing but boss people around. No wonder that Khalid was the only man who would marry you.
Or what? I do know of your Khalid. They say he was a weak man who you bossed around. Well, Toby isn't like that. Well, thank you for the compliment, Ari, but I have to step in here. This is going a bit too far. Never said he was. I will not have a foolish girl disparage my dead husband, regardless of what you think my intentions towards Toby are. But it's who you are, jealous, Jared. You're constantly picking on me, glaring at me. You want Toby for yourself. You are being foolish. There's obviously some attempt to gather Toby's attention. Toby, I suggest you let the girl down easy before more harm is done. Okay. I feel I may have inadvertently provoked something here. Yeah, this... It would appear... I think I know what's going on here. I've had this happen to me a few times in Dragon Age and Mass Effect. Both Jaheira and Eri think that Toby's got romantic interest in them, so they're fighting. I did not mean to do this, but it seems to have happened. So, unfortunately, I'm going to have to actually choose between them. This is going to be a bit awkward. But, to be perfectly honest, I think the first option on here is the most accurate, because, honestly, Toby never had any romantic feelings towards Jaheira. She's more of a good friend than anything, and if you remember from my Baldur's Gate 1 Let's Play, when they first met, Imoen jokingly referring to her as Auntie Jaheira, that's actually quite close to how Toby feels. She's like an aunt, possibly a good friend, but nothing romantic about it. You're the one who's jealous. Just cool down. You and I are only friends. I never implied otherwise, Toby. We've been through so much, I thought, well, it does not matter. I shall leave the girl in your hands, then. Oh, Toby, this is embarrassing. I didn't mean for it to all come out like this. Nothing ever seems to go right. I've had enough of this life, so it would be better if I just went back to the circus. Come on, Eri... As far as... come on, Eri. You need to pull yourself together. You haven't even tried to face this. But I have, Toby. I have. I just don't have the strength. I'm so useless. You're not useless. Not at all. And you do have the strength. You just have to reach down and find it. I can't. Yes, you can. You have a choice, Eri. Either to be strong and live, or lay down and die. That's your choice. Do you want to die? Is that what you want? No, I don't want to die. Maybe I will think on what you have said. Let me just sleep for now. Okay, then. Well, that was certainly unexpected, and for Toby, more than a little bit awkward, it has to be said. And yeah, based on the way things went with that, it would appear that Toby's romance
This is a lot more exciting
in
than any
this
story.
playthrough is going to be airy. I actually, to be honest with you guys, did not look up anything about who you could romance or anything, but as I said, just from a purely roleplay perspective, Toby only ever thought of Jaheira as either an aunt or a friend, depending on when you're talking about, so he just never had that sort of feelings for her, so it would just have felt wrong to have any sort of romance going on with Jaheira, bearing that in mind. But yeah, now we're just gonna chill here for a little while until something else happens. Well, we're back in the keep after a couple of weeks, and there is a small problem here that needs our attention. So yeah, you might have guessed this by now, but this entire episode is basically going to be just me finishing off the DarkPhoenix Keep questline, because I want it to be done before we move on and hand over the gold to the Shadow Thieves, which we have all that we need and then some for that, because I don't know if we'll ever be coming back, or if something will happen that will make it uncompletable. So I want to do this now, because of that. I'm unsure if you have met Chanel. She has been a maid here most of her life. She was an orphan, and the DarkPhoenix family took her in as a servant when she was young. As Lord of the Keep, you are technically her guardian. Ordinarily, that would not be a problem, but there are two men who desire her hand in marriage. It is up to you, my lord, to give her away and decide which of the men has your blessing for the marriage. Shall I bring them in to see you, my lord? You refuse, then no one shall be permitted to marry Chanel. And I am sure that is not what she wants. Yes, bring them in. Apparently we have to play judge in some marriage dispute now. Not what I was expecting when I became Lord of a Keep, certainly. I shall send for them immediately, my lord. It should be just a moment.
I serve this land regardless.
This, of course, is Chanel, one of the maids in the keep, your grace. Hello. Now to explain to the Lord exactly in your own words what the problem is. Oh, alright. Jessup here has been courting me for some time. He's a ranger from the local forests, and Malvolio is a landowner from over in the Ronell lands. Malvolio, too, he has been courting me, although I can't say I'm all that interested. I am a man of affluence, my lord. I can care very well for Chanel's needs, and she'll have nothing to worry about for her future. The same cannot be said for this lout, Jessup. He's a drunk and a fool. On top of that, he's a penniless pauper. No doubt he wishes to marry Chanel only to gain access to your coin. What? How dare you say that? I love Chanel. I've loved her for far longer than you, and she doesn't even want you, you slobbering pig. Ladies, you're both pretty. Now stop spitting and scratching. But I have no need of a dowry from the Lord here. In fact, I am willing to offer him 500 gold pieces as a gift to show how much I am willing to take care of our Chanel. Really? He's trying to bribe me now. Unfortunately for you, my dear man, 500 gold pieces isn't even pocket change for me at this point, so you're wasting your breath. Not marrying her only because of the dowry, but it was promised by Lord DarkPhoenix to me, my lord. I don't expect you to keep his promise, but I was hoping you would. It would make a world of difference to Jessup and I. That was his promise, I believe. and by tradition, it is the correct one. It is up to you, my lord, whether or not you wish to give a dowry. There's no need, and besides, she would be miserable with that drunkard. I'm not a drunkard, Malvolio. Stop saying that. You do drink quite a lot, Jessup. Chanel, no, don't say that. What about the... Enough. Lord Toby will decide the issue. Honestly, given the way Malvolio's been behaving, and the fact that he tried to bribe us into selecting him, Toby is entirely prejudiced against him. And the fact that this Jessup has a bit to drink sometimes is not a reason to disqualify him. We've heard nothing indicating he spends all his money on alcohol or anything. And if he's a ranger, it means he has a job, so that's not a reason to disqualify him either. And I'll not... Toby is kind of a softie when it comes to love, I have to admit. I'll not stand in the way of Chanel's heart. She may marry Jessup if that is her wish. Oh, thank you, my lord, thank you. I'm grateful as well, my lord, but we will need some kind of start. Have you given any thought to the dowry? Yes, I think 500 gold it will be. It's little enough to me, and that's a bit of an understatement, let's be honest. But it will mean a good life for you both. Live well. 5? My lord, you are too kind. You're so generous. How can we thank you? You can build a home. Oh, thank you, my lord. I'm grateful you kept Lord de Ornice's word. It means so much to me. Humph. Yeah, well, screw you too, Malvipoo. Nobody likes you anyways. Okay, well, we're back here for the next event. And there's a couple of well-dressed people who have arrived here asking for an audience with us. They have not stated their business, however, preferring to speak to you. Shall I grant them an audience, my lord, or shall I just send them away? Bring them in, let's at least hear what they want. Very well, my lord, I shall have them brought in. A good day to you, my lord Toby. I'm sure you're wondering what brings us here before you. Just tell him and get it over with. In my own time? In my own time. Introductions first. My colleague and I are money lenders, you see, from Azkatla. We've come here to collect a debt that's owed by the late Lord de Ornice. A debt in the amount of 2,000 gold pieces. We do know that the late lord is quite dead, but the debt is attached to his property, so I believe it falls on you to repay it, Lord Toby. Preposterous. Preposterous, even. There is no such debt. I would know of it. But on the contrary, there is. In fact, we have a scrip here asserting such, and it has his seal set upon it. Fully documented and legal, I assure you. What? Let me see that. It is Lord de Ornice's signature, all right, my lord. The wax has been pressed with his seal, but there's no way to determine precisely when this was done. Lord de Ornice's seal was lost during the troll invasion, along with other things. And people could have gotten hold of it and used it to forge these documents. It is not a forgery. We did not come here to cause any trouble, just to collect a simple outstanding debt. Of course, if you do decide to refuse, well, we will simply have to take exception to that. We can't let debts slide, especially debts made by nobles. We would be out of business. Though if you refuse to honor this script, we will be forced to take other measures. There are at least, perhaps a dozen locals who owe us upwards of 1,000 crowns. I understand that a merchant recently made a similar threat, and we can do the same. We will call in those debts immediately if you refuse. And of course, I can have this done, even if something were to, say, happen to us. Lord Toby, what will it be? Really? You think you're going to be able to threaten me with an obviously fraudulent debt? I don't think so. Be gone before I have you executed. You have not heard the last of us then, Toby. So wait until your people become angered when they find out who is the source of their misery. Just you wait. I believe you were asked to leave. Now out.
I serve this land regardless.
Well, now the two are dealt with, there's the matter of their threat. If there are locals who owe them money, they will be angry if they are forced to pay immediately. Is there anything you might wish to do about that, my lord? Of course there is. I will help them pay the full 1,000 gold. I won't have people being hurt because some crooks tried to take advantage of me. But neither am I about to pay crooks a fraudulent debt. Give the people the gold and let them pay it. That way we're not paying any fraudulent debts. And all of that. You are more than generous. Very sensible of you, my lord, not to invite further blackmail. I will make the arrangements immediately. And as we well know, 1,000 gold isn't much of anything to us.
Ready and
So,
able.
we're done with that. I will see you again for the next whatchamacallit. Okay, I'm back in the keep once again. So what happened this time is we're just doing our job as master of our own Thieves Guild Hall when a messenger ran up to us telling us there had been a terrible flood on our land and we needed to return immediately. So with that sort of message, what else could we do but head back? It is our responsibility, after all. So let's see what's going on. Your Grace, you have arrived. It is terrible, is it not? Did you see the destruction of the flood from the road? There are many put out from their farms. 'Twas the old dikes, my lord. Lord de Arnais was planning on building new ones to replace them. But it was always a project for next year, it seems. Now it has caught up to us. There are many locals who have demanded to speak with you. So many are upset, I have limited their number to but a few. Well, let's see what they want.
Cheating kobold.
You're here to protect folk like us. We're assured that the dikes would be fixed so there'd be no more floods. And this one was worse than all the others, all of them. My farm was completely sodded. My son was killed. The water came so quickly. It's all we could do to get away with our lives. I've lost everything. Many of us have. We know you are not our Lord de Arnais, but you are our Lord. We have paid you our taxes, and now we need your help. Need his help? We demand his help. You want to be our Lord, then you need to fix this problem. Oh, there's no need to talk like that. I'm sure Lord Toby is willing to help us to do what's right. Well, either the dike needs to be fixed, or all our farmholds have to be rebuilt. Or both. There's going to be a lot of angry people. Calm down, everyone. Lord Toby shall do as he feels is best, and there is no altering that. Please, just remain calm. Now, my lord, I've determined the cost for damages and rebuilding the dike. You will need to choose what, if anything, will be done right now. The damage to the land is costly, and it's too bad we do not have access to Lord de Arnais' coffers, because the cost to rebuild is over, 5,000 gold. Well then, it is fortunate that we are in possession of such a large quantity of coin at this time. because I can quite comfortably pay that. And frankly, Toby doesn't see anything unreasonable about these people demanding help to rebuild. Natural disaster or not, they live on land that he rules, so he should help them. And that's what we're going to do. If that is what it takes to rebuild, I will pay the full amount. 5,000 gold it is. You're very generous, my lord. That will go a long way towards restoring things to the way they were. Thank you. And what about the dikes? Are you going to rebuild those? The dikes are almost as costly, hence the reason Lord Arnice kept putting them off. 2,000 gold to rebuild them, my lord. A harsh expense, I know. Well, as far as we're concerned, the way Toby sees rebuilding the dikes, despite the fact that this is going to start to eat into our funds just a tad now. As far as we see it, this is an investment in the future. If rebuilding them now means that there won't be constant flooding, and we won't have to keep spending money rebuilding the farms and such, then it is damn well worth it. If it will prevent future problems, then it should be done. Spend the 2,000 gold and rebuild the dikes. Very good, my lord. I will see that reconstruction begins immediately on the new dikes. You've been more than fair with us, my lord. How can we ever thank you for all that you have done? Indeed, I do not think Lord de Arnice himself would have been as generous to his people. I just want you to know, Lord Toby, that I think you've done a fine job. Better than we thought you would. Let us go then and do what we can. We appreciate what assistance you've given us, my lord. Well, thank you.
Something you
That's
need.
very touching. We're down to 38,000 gold now, from the 45,000 odd that we had before. But
Onward,
there
then.
is some money in the taxes that we've got upstairs in that chest. So I think I'll collect that before we go. But you guys don't need to stick around and watch me doing that, so I'll pause here and resume when there's something of importance happening, I think. Okay, well, I decided to pop on the recording a little bit earlier, but while I've been doing my job as Guildmaster of this section of the Thieves Guild, we've just been ambushed by a keep messenger. I can only assume bad news, as he says the worst has happened. Captain Cernic has sighted Ronal forces mobilized. They're coming, and they're going to wage war on us. Got to come to the keep as quickly as we can.
Something you need.
Well, shit. That's really all I have to say to this. Shit. We've got to get going pronto-like. I am sure it's shit not sticking around here while our lands are getting invaded by this Ronal bastard. And I will tell you one thing. If he had any aspirations of living, well,
I have been thinking.
that chance has just gone out the
You are
window.
right. I have been foolish.
And we also get conversations
have
with
my wings.
Aerie.
But I have everything else. Especially my life. And people who care for me.
Aw, I'm glad that you came around to that way of thinking, Aerie. I was worried about you, I really was. I'm such a silly woman, whining and crying. I must seem so ridiculous and petty. No man will ever want me, I think. I feel so embarrassed. And I'm glad you're better, Aerie, but you're still wrong. There are many reasons a man would want you, not least of which is your beauty. Oh, you're just flattering me, Toby. None of that is true, really. Of course it's true. I say what I mean, Ari. I really do. Oh, I see. Well, thank you, Toby. Do you think I'm beautiful? I mean, do you feel all these things about me? Yes, I do. I care about you, Ari. And I care for you, Toby. Thank you for everything you've done for me. I feel much better. Yeah. I've said this before, and I'm going to continue saying it, but I just find the whole relationship between Toby and Ari, at least as it's ended up being in this particular run, to be kind of sweet. And a lot of people will disagree with me, but just in terms of like how awkwardly cute and everything Ari can be, I'm reminded a lot of the way Alistair is when you first meet him in Dragon Age Origins. How you can tell he genuinely likes you, but he's not used to that sort of relationship, and just the whole thing is kind of awkward for him. Ari sort of reminds me of that in a way.
Just as I thought.
But we have more important matters that need our attention, like our keep being about to come under attack by a literal fucking army. No offense, Ari. I like you, I really do, but the army coming to invade our lands is of a bit more importance to me than our personal relationship issues right now. Those issues are going to have to be shelved until we deal with said army. Nothing personal, I'm sure you understand.
Onward, then.
But let us head in and speak to Major Domo. See what information he can give us. Luckily, we seem to have arrived ahead of said attacking army. So that's a plus.
Your Grace, you return.
Thank goodness that you have arrived when you did. The forces of Lord Ronal are almost upon us. I did not truly believe that Lord Ronal would actually attack. Captain Cernick spotted their forces and has moved to engage, or at least to slow them. Our forces are fewer, and they are all newly recruited. We cannot hope to win. Oh, they will be on us in no time. Lord Ronal will take this keep by force. That bastard can't trick us out of it, so he's going to do it by force? And the council won't do anything if he's already conquered it. I've only received word from the front line about 2 hours ago. Captain Cernick says the battle...
I trust you have no hostile intentions.
Lord Toby, Lord Ronal and some of his forces have pushed through the lines. They are attacking the gate. You've got to come quickly. If their forces aren't stopped soon, they will overtake the walls and all will be lost. You must fight Lord Ronal. If he is killed, his army will dissolve around him. But you must do it before the walls fall. Come, my lord, to the gates.
Yes?
To the gates, indeed. Let's do this. Well, I can't say I was expecting this. When I woke up this morning, that we would have to kill the leader of an enemy army because he is a noble and an utter bastard who refuses to accept that we won't give him the keep. In any case, Roni is going to die. And I'm not going to pretend I won't enjoy it. 'Cause I will enjoy it. A lot.
I'll heed no churlishness, peasant.
Ah, there you are, my pathetic little peasant. Prepare to lose your precious keep, fool.
Crossblades with me and die.
Aw, that's so cute.
Where can I be of most use?
You think you get to live? How adorable. Really, it's just sweet. you think you are going to get to live. That's so endearing. It really is. Aww. Nalia, summon a wyvern. I think this fellow is in need of a bit of tough love. Right now, I really do. And then, magic arrow thing. Everyone but you two, rush his ass. Now bring him the fuck down. And he's dead.
Something you need?
That went
The
well.
forces of Lord Roanel have been routed thanks to your efforts, Your Grace. Once again, the keep and surrounding lands have been saved by your hand.
Yeah, he went out more with a whimper than a bang, really, but it would be a lie to say that we did not enjoy killing him at least a little bit. We all wish to express our gratitude and let you know that we desire nothing more than for you to remain our ruling lord for as long as you desire to. God, I am just screwing up all sorts of words right now. This is what I want, and I've told them all, Toby. I wouldn't have a castle at all if it wasn't for you. It's my home, but it's your right to rule here. We hail you, Lord Toby. We hail you and bow before your presence. Accept you as our sovereign now and forevermore. Well, thank you. That's very kind of you to say. And Minsk has leveled up, so let's deal with that. Saving throws reduced all across. Thaco reduced by 1. 1 level 2 priest spell and 3 hit points. Was that? So, with that particular mess sorted,
Of course.
and the large amount of money in our possession, as well as the fact that the group is pretty decent level. At the moment, 11 or 12 of at least one class is pretty common for all of us right now. And we're about 50,000 experience away from having Toby be a level 10 fighter. So, in the situation we're in, I think we have waited long enough. And it's high time that we advance the plot. So we'll be going to see Galen over in the slums and giving him the 20,000 gold he is owed. But it's late right now. We've arrived after dark, as we have a tendency to do whenever we're out traveling. So we're not going to go visit him and fork over the cash now. We're going to do that in the morning.
Yes.
And first, it's been a long day, and we had to defeat a literal invading army, even if we didn't have to fight all of them, so
Ready and
we could
just
all do with some rest. I'm going to go
I got some cheap beer for you.
get us a room for the night. Not one of the best rooms, since they don't have those here at the Copper Coronet, but the best we can afford.
Yes. Onward then.
So now, it's the next morning, and everyone is, I would say, fairly well suited up for battle. Veilgar is actually surprisingly good with regards to his armor class, even though I haven't bought him any new armor. He has some decent blades that he's... But from a mechanical perspective, I actually don't want to get Veilgar anything particularly good, because when we find Imoen eventually, we're going to need to replace someone from the party in order to have her with us, and we've spent a lot of money and effort kitting out Nalia with as many spells as we possibly can. So we don't want to remove her from the party. And for obvious reasons, the rest of them are not an option. Veilgar, though, he's the standout guy. He's the one that's just sort of there. He's in the party because Animan was a dick, and I wanted to replace Animan, essentially. And because that Planar Sphere quest required Veilgar to be around. So if it comes down to replacing a party member to get Imoen in the party, it's going to be Veilgar. Nothing personal, but Imoen is basically our sister. So he, the total stranger that we're just sort of cool with because he's not particularly good or bad or anything, makes the obvious replacement. But speaking of Imoen, I'm going to need to stock up on spells to give her so that she will have access to some decent spells, since she'll probably be stuck with all the ones from the first game when we eventually get her. So what I'm going to do is, after we end up forking over all the gold to Galen, we will, at some point, before we actually go off and start the process of rescuing Imoen, go and do a whole bunch of shopping in the promenade, buy some spells to stick into our spell case, and just ditch a bunch of the plot-related items that we've been holding on to for nostalgia's sake on the ground somewhere. So we'll just do a whole bunch of spell shopping to get a great big pile of scrolls, and so Imoen can learn some spells. But now it's time to finally pull the trigger and actually commence with Operation Save Imoen. Yeah, my operation names need some work. Just look at what I named the military operations in my Kaiserreich Russia Let's Play from way back when to get an idea of what I'm saying.